Okay, great. Perfect. So, welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about effective revision strategies for the exam. And my name is Asmik. I've got my bachelor degree at Moscow State Pedagogical University, and I'm a teacher of English and Polish languages. Also, I've got an internship in Pedagogical University of Krakow. And now I'm part of Institute of International Education. So now on your screens, you can see the overview of today's webinar. We're going to talk about where to start, what exactly to revise, why do you need a timetable, and of course, the main part of our webinar will be dedicated to the most effective strategies for revision and some useful resources to help you. So, where to start? I believe that the most important thing, not only in your exams, but also in anything this life, is your motivation. And I know that you are going through some tough times right now. You may stress over the exams, so I know exactly how you feel. But you know, now it's even more important than ever to work on your motivation and to keep a positive mindset. So here are some ideas how to do that. First of all, you can take a piece of paper, a pen, and write down, why are you doing this? Let's work on the attitude towards the exam. So you just write down, I'm doing this because, and list everything, every reason that you think is important to you, and that is the reason why you want to pass the exam successfully. Every time that you will look down at this paper, you will see that, okay, I'm doing this because I need this, this, and this. And I'm sure that it will keep you going. Just try it out. Another thing is setting short-term goals. Your main goal, which may be, for example, passing the exam, it may be a long way off, but naturally you would like to see the result right now, right? So by setting short-term goals every day, this will keep you motivated to continue doing stuff, because at the end of each day you will see that, okay, I've done so many things. Naturally it will motivate you to do even more. I don't know, this works for me 100%, and if you haven't tried it yet, please try it. I'm sure that you will like the result of that. And lastly, mark your success. Acknowledge every little achievement of yours. To do this, you can keep a reflective journal. I recently just learned about this trick, that in this journal, you write down everything that you have achieved. Yours, even little success. Because, you know, sometimes we feel upset, we may feel down, but you can open this journal and you look at everything that you have achieved. I'm sure it will improve your mood, and just try it out and maybe let me know how it will work out for you. I'm really interested. Just let me know later if it will work out for the best for you. Okay, so now as we're super motivated, we're ready to study. Okay, what to revise then? Here I've thought of 2 steps. The first one would be selecting what exactly we're going to revise. And then organize that selected material so that it's easier to remember. And if we're talking about English exam, What can we revise? Of course, it's some vocabulary items, some useful phrases for writing or for speaking, also collocations, phrasal verbs, and of course, some grammar. Okay, so in order to not find ourselves in this situation the night before the exam, don't leave revision until the last minute. Start right now. I know that it's not quite clear at the moment when exactly you're having your exams, but still I assume there is a month approximately. So that's a long period. Start right now and you will have all the time to prepare for the exam successfully. Just decide how much time you have, how much time you can allocate on revision. Of course, given the time to relax. And here to help yourself, you can draw up a timetable. Just divide materials for each day, and it will make your life much easier. I'm not going too deep into this topic. You can check out the webinar on time management on our Institute's YouTube channel. And yeah, every little detail about time management is there. Okay, I think that we can move on to the main part of our webinar, which is revision strategies. And first, I would like to ask you, imagine that you have a big test coming up and you have to study for that test. What do you usually do? How do you revise information before some important tests or exams? Could you please write that down in the chat box? Just anything you do, like maybe you read the book on that topic, maybe you, anything. I read it over and over again. I see. Retell a piece of material to anyone. Great. Okay. Actually, what I see from your answers proves that the most popular revision strategies are rereading, then another one is highlighting and underlining, and making notes. These are the most popular strategies. But are they effective? One of the most recent studies done by psychology professor Danlowski said that these strategies aren't that effective in comparison to other strategies, of course, because clearly if you read something like hundreds of times, you will remember that, of course, and you will pass the exam successfully, but have you noticed that you go to the exam, when it's over, you walk out the room, and at that second, it's blank. You don't remember anything. That is actually because these strategies don't work with your long-term memory. That is also another reason why they aren't effective. And if you're interested in this topic and in this research, I've wrote down the actual the name of the paper, the research paper, and you can check it out. So your next question clearly would be, what strategies are effective then? Well, let's talk about active recall strategy. What is this about? Basically, instead of passively putting information in your brain, you stimulate your brain to give that information to you. So instead of just reading over and over again, or writing something from the book again, millions of times. You stimulate your brain that way that it gives you the information that you need because it's in there. Yeah, it's already in there. This way, the connection between the information and your brain becomes much stronger. And just a few moments later, I will give you the practical ways of implementing this strategy. But at the moment, I would like to introduce another great effective strategy. Again, this is all scientifically proven by Professor Danlowski, and many studies were done on this topic. And as you can assume from the name, spaced repetition, what is this about? You basically space out the repetition over a period of time. It is very important to revise at a particular intervals. Let's look at this graph. Can you see this curve? This is called the forgetting curve. Basically, it shows how information is lost over time. So you've studied something, you've learned a new information for the first time. By the third day, after 3 days as you've studied it, you remember only 60% of that information. We can improve that this way. So you've learned some new material. You revise it the next day. Then you revise it 3 days later. Then you revise it after a week. Then after 2 weeks. Then after a month. You've got the idea, yeah? You make each time the interval, you make it bigger, longer. And by interrupting the process of forgetting the information, yeah? We just don't let our brain to forget the information. As it starts forgetting it, we interrupt it with our revision. And this way, not only you will remember the material better, it will stay with you for much, much longer period. Yeah, can you see that this curve becomes straighter, yeah? And even after a month, you will remember the key ideas, definitely. And ideally, you revise using active recall strategy, yeah? Because these two strategies in pair, they give the best result. So yeah, now as we've discussed the two main strategies, let's talk about the actual practical ways how to use them. So the first one is mind mapping. And I'm sure that you are well aware of this strategy. Basically here I wanted to share with top 5 best tools for mind mapping. All of them are for free, completely free, and they are super user friendly. And also you can log into each of them using your Google page. So it's just one click and you are ready to create. Super easy. And how can you use this? So as you can see here, the bottom right side, this is the mind map for the topic of environment. So this is one way how you can do it. Just choose one topic. Yeah, as we know that the exam is divided to many different topics. So you can create mind maps for each topic, like environment, family, sports, anything. And as you can see here, this is just one example how exactly to do that. You just list every word that you remember on this topic. Or you can create a mind map for useful phrases, let's say for writing. And the first branch would be like for introduction. Then you can create the conclusion, then how to express your opinion. And all of that what is really important. Yeah, all of that, you don't write that from the dictionary opened in front of you. You do that like using active recall. Yeah, only you and the tool. Books closed, just try that. I know it's really challenging, but only at first. It is harder at first, but then it's just the information sinks in much better. So at the end, you will spend less time than just rereading that information. So the next technique is my favorite. It's flashcards. So if you are into crafts and you like cutting out cards, you can do that, definitely. You can use different colors for different categories. And here you can use Lектor system. What is it about? So basically you have 3 boxes. In the first box, you put cards that you often make mistakes with. And in the third box, there are cards that you know very well. Here you need a schedule. Let's say that the cards from the first box, you revise them once a day. Then the cards from the second box, you revise every 3 days. And third box, you revise every 5 days. How does it work? Let's look at this video, please. So basically, every time that you've got a card wrong, you put it in the first box. As you got the card correct, you move it forward. Yeah? And by the fact that you revise the cards from the first box more often, you gradually move the cards from there to the second, and then to the third box. It's not necessarily has to be box. Yeah, of course you can make just piles of cards, and again use this system. But if you're not really keen on this idea of cutting cards out and wasting your time on doing that, you can use apps to create flashcards. And here are 3 apps that are, again, they're completely free. I'm sure that you know Quizlet, yeah? So I would like to focus on the first 2 apps, which are Anki app and Brainscapes, and what I like about them. So Lектor system is applied in these apps, and every time that the card comes up, you can mark it as hard, medium, or easy. And according to that, the app shows that card either more often or less often. And also, by the way, you can create cards for some math formulas. Yeah, if you need to do some revision for your math exam, you can also do that easily. And also, Anki app has a version for your computers. So if you prefer working on a big screen rather than on your phone, feel free to download it and do that. Also, it's completely for free. I think we can move on to another strategy, which is role play. Basically, it's all about getting a study buddy or a study group, yeah, and do the revision together. I'm sure you will agree with me that it's much more fun to do this with your friends rather than to do it on your own. Also, you can use flashcards, yeah. Now, as you can make some calls in Zoom or maybe in Skype, doesn't matter. You can share your screens, yeah. You can take turns in sharing your screen and show the app with your flashcards and work with each other. Yeah, study together. And what I also really like about this strategy, that you can teach each other here. Yeah, if someone doesn't know the card or forgot some material, the other person can teach that to you. And have you noticed that when you try to describe something to another person, yeah, to teach that information, you just remember that for super long time, and you just understand it much better. Yeah, I think that's everything for role plays. And now the last technique, not least, is called 20-10-20. Basically, instead of studying 40 minutes straight, which is it even sounds boring, try this way. You can study, revise something for 20 minutes. Then you have a 10 minutes rest. Yeah, you can have a snack. You can, if you're doing this in your study groups or with your study buddy, you can have you can chat, catch up on some latest news. Then 10 minutes over, you're going back to another 20 minutes of revision. And you see, here you have 40 minutes of revision session, yeah? And here as well, we have 40 minutes. But this way makes a huge difference, yeah? It feels different. Because as you give yourself a break, even psychologically, it's not that difficult to get to this studying. Yeah, because when I think that I have to study for 40 minutes, it's more likely that I will leave that until the end of the day. But this way, I think it's more fun. I guess that's everything that I wanted to say. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And yeah, thanks for listening. Just a second. Yeah, I think I'm ready. Thanks. Very useful, thank you. Well, thank you. I hope that it will be actually useful for you. And if you try something out, please let me know in the comments. This video will be up on the YouTube channel. So, what is your favorite English films? Well, will I surprise you saying that I adore Harry Potter and everything about it? It just was the first thing that came up, but also lately I saw this great movie called My Little Princess, which is written by the book. And yeah, a really great film. The director is Alfonso Cuarón. The most important advice for preparing for the Unified State exam. Well, the first thing that I would advise you, please stay calm. Yeah, it's easier to say. Yeah, I know, but there are plenty of these techniques how to relax before the exam, and try to do that, like a breathing technique. Yeah, for example, all of you know about that, because the only thing that can spoil your exam is panic. We don't need that. So if you will study well and use the strategies that I've just shared, yeah, for your revision, because we have, I guess, like a month, I guess that That will be enough to prepare super well. You will do that just perfectly. The only thing that will be left is just calm yourself down. So yeah, I guess that the night before the exam, I wouldn't recommend you to study hard. You know, you may look through some materials, yeah, but only for a little bit, and try to dedicate the day before the exam for like doing some exercise, yeah, having a good sleep, maybe having a relaxing bath, for example, basically to calm yourself down and be ready for the exam. Is using color sticks with words posted on fridge useful for revision? Well, again, depends on what would you write on that sticky notes, yeah? If you write some questions there, for example, yeah? Or if you write like, if that would be a picture, for example, yeah? That will be much more useful rather than putting a word with the translation, because that way you just will, that will be just the information straight for your brain and it won't be stimulated to work on that. But if you put some questions there, then every time looking at that question, your brain will automatically, it will want to answer that question, yeah, to solve that problem. And by stimulating your brain this way, I think it can be useful, yeah. Actually a great tip to use. Thanks, Maria. What foreign languages do you know? Well, I know English, Polish language, and also I know Armenian, my second native language. That's it. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Well, I see that there are no questions, so thank you very much. Thanks for dedicating your time to this webinar, and have a great day. Goodbye.